Echo might seem like a great support anchor, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Echo is actually way better suited for aggressive roaming instead. To explain, I need to go over the biggest misconception when it comes to Echo: yokai cameras. Echo's yokai cameras at first glance might seem good for anchoring, due to the fact that you can use his stuns to disable the attackers from defusing the bomb. While a good use of his cameras, you should not be focusing primarily on this as an Echo player. The reason for this being is because as it stands, we are in a 1.5 times scope aggressive TDM meta, whatever you want to call it. Because of how this meta works, attackers have been able to plant the diffuser way less than any other meta or any other season. This means that if you use Echo to deny plants, most of the time you won't be able to use his cameras for what you would want to do, because most rounds, again, people can't even get the bomb down. So if you don't use his cameras for that, then what do you use them for? Well, you want to adapt into the current meta, just like you would do with any other operator that doesn't fit the meta currently. In this case, get aggressive. What do I mean by this? Well, first, let's take a look at Warden. Warden on release came out at a time in Siege's life where this meta was a lot more slow-paced and information heavy. No one realized the potential of the 1.5 times scope yet, so his ability and kit seemed very lackluster. But when people were able to abuse his potential with his 1.5 times scope, everything changed. Instead of him as an anchor to deny smoke and flash executes, he became an aggressive roamer to match the roam and aggressive heavy meta. Now he sits at the top of the operator pick delta, as you can see right here. The same can be done with Echo 2. Like Warden, if the sit on site and use utility method does not fit the meta, then you need to adapt. This means as Echo, instead of using his cameras on site and sitting on site as well, you need to be off site with your cameras. Not only this, but you need to be using his cameras to get kills instead of using it to deny plants that statistically aren't going to be happening anyway. How do you do this? The first crucial aspect of using Echo correctly in this meta is his camera placement. A lot of players will just throw cameras around randomly in the prep phase, hide them, and hope for the best in the round. This is actually a huge mistake. Instead, what you need to be doing is using each camera with intent. As you can see from this clip here of me on Cafe, I have a camera on top of the cigar box. The intent with this camera was to stun anybody that swung the red stairs door, so that my smoke player behind the shield right here could have an easier time killing them due to the fact that the player of course would be stunned, and as you can see, he did end up getting that kill. In an aggressive meta where people, even smoke players as you can see, are swinging everything, it's much more impactful to use Echo cameras like this for kills instead of using it for the plant. Now, let's say that you don't have as a reliable of a team that I did with that smoke player. Well, you can still use Echo cameras to get kills yourself. As you can see from this same clip, I pivoted my strategy from using the Echo camera for my smoke to using it for myself. I'm waiting for anyone to drop the new hatch, and as soon as the sledge does, I immediately get on my camera and stun him and swing for the kill. Now obviously, I didn't have the best aim here, alright, but we ain't gotta talk about all that. Instead, pay attention to my playstyle. I'm in a safe place. I have an idea for a kill set up. My camera is placed intentionally, and I know how I'm going to execute. All I needed to have there was patience. To show you just how reliable this strategy is, let's break down this second kill that I also got that comes after, where I had a camera hidden in the bookshelf. If you rewind all the way back to the prep phase, you can clearly see here that I actually did this on purpose for one of two reasons. The first reason is so that if I knew they were planting, as you can see here, I could take this camera out of the bookshelf and use it to stun the player on the default plant right here, with an escape route of just hopping back down. The second reason, as you can see right here from the gameplay, is so I could sit on heaven, where I was to use this camera to get on the ceiling to stun anyone in pillar trying to kill me from below so that I could kill them. And as you can see from the footage, it worked, and it won us the round. It's strategies like these that separate the good Echo players from the great Echo players. Even with this in mind, there's still one more thing you need to know about Echo that I guarantee you don't know, and it's where to actually sit as Echo. Now, based off of the title, most people would assume that I'm one of those people that advocate for Echo to be on the complete opposite side of the map, sitting on his cams all around. While this might seem like a smart strategy to some people, it really isn't, and I'll tell you why. The reason people used to do this back in the day was because his cameras were invisible, if you didn't know, so you could really just wait and use his cameras for plants, but like I said, that's just not possible in this meta, and especially now that his cameras aren't invisible anymore. So as Echo, unfortunately, you're going to have to let your nuts hang a little bit and be more gunfight heavy. Surprise, surprise, welcome to Siege currently. So you're not supposed to play him on site, and you're not supposed to play him off site. So what do you do? The answer lies in the middle of both extremes. Most people know about anchoring and roaming, but they don't know about the third option called lurking. This position is often filled by flex operators like Legion, Wamai, Azami, and you guessed it, Echo 2. In order to describe what I mean, let's take a look at the common Azami rafter strat in Clubhouse. Now, this strat on screen has Azami technically playing off site. but it's so close to sight that you can't really call it roaming. So the community has adopted the term lurking, essentially a mix of both. Lurking entails that you play near sight to hold key positions with your utility so that other people on site don't get swarmed by attackers early in the round. Echo is meant to do this. If I go back to the Echo example, you can clearly see that I'm playing on Heaven. This isn't technically on site, but it is near. As Echo, you want to be doing this to most sites you go to. The objective of lurking is, again, to hold key positions that you can't really hold from the site itself, whether it be rafters on Clubhouse, 90 on Coastline, piano on Cafe, bakery in Cafe, or as you can see here, Heaven on Cafe. There's plenty more examples on plenty more maps that I can give you, but you get the point. As Echo, you want to be lurking. Now let's go over the hardest learning curve part of learning how to play Echo, the actual strategy in mind. Here, I'm bringing you back to this cafe example once again, I know. Anytime I place an Echo camera, I have the intent with said camera, like I said much earlier in the video, but there's levels to it. Not only do I have intent with who I'm going to stun, or who's going to kill the stunned player, but I also have multiple escape routes for my cameras, multiple angles set up to execute off of my cameras, and I make sure to do it in positions attackers can't escape. I also make sure that my cameras are holding nothing but power positions. So with all of that, let's break it down step by step. So I brought you into a custom game. Now, first of all, let's go over escape routes. This bookshelf camera right here has many escape routes. Once you get it into position and stun a player, you immediately need to get it off of the roof and run it away so it doesn't get shot. As you can see, there's a drone hole here that I use to get it into the reading room. But if I'm planning it to put it on the 3rd floor instead, when I hop it up, stun the person on the default, plant new hatch, whatever it may be, my escape route then is to get it off the roof and go by this pillar here and put it below the new hatch hidden inside of this corner where I know attackers aren't going to be. This camera on the box is the exact same. If I get on the camera and I hop it up on the roof and try to stun somebody, I can immediately get off and put it through this drone hole into ticket where it's safe. Or I can drive it just into the cigar box, or I can drive it onto the top of new hatch and put it under the chair here. Either way, there's a bunch of safe escape routes that I can take. You get the idea though. If you put a camera somewhere, you want an escape route planned. Next, let's talk about execution. Great echo cams don't mean anything without a great player to swing off of them. If you have an echo camera that can stun players like the one over there with an escape route, you need to be in a position like this that you can easily swing to get that free kill. If you're rooms away from your camera, like all the way on the top of white stairs, then there's just no point. Just move it to where you are or move to your camera. Finally, the last part of strategy, and arguably the most powerful, is putting echo camera strategies where attackers can't escape. The new hatch example is great because as soon as they drop the hatch, it's not like they can just leave. It's too late for them, and you can punish them for a hasty execution. More good examples are windows like this, so you can kill them after rappelling in or hopping in said window. These piano windows here are a great example. If you hide the camera, let's say somewhere here, they hop in, you get on the roof, you stun them, right? And then there's a shield right here, you swing the shield, and it's a free kill, right? Another great example is long hallways just like this. If you get a camera, you can hop the camera on the roof, and you can stun them. And because it's a long hallway, they have pretty much nowhere to go except for where you are, because you can easily just swing off of the head holes there and kill them, or you can be in coat and swing them like this. Lastly is an exposed doorway. If you come to a bakery double door, when attackers want to run in here, they have to run in and hug the wall, or you, being behind this bakery counter, can easily shoot them and kill them. But as soon as they come in here, they have nowhere to go, because what are they going to do? Run back out the double door where they'll be exposed and you can easily shoot them? No, they have to stay here, so they're kind of trapped, and a good echo camera would be like, let's say, behind this this bookshelf right here. You can hide it right here, hop it up, stun them, get off your camera from behind the bar, and kill them right here. Super effective echo camera. All of those examples that I just highlighted for you are great examples of echo cameras near places attackers just can't escape. Now, in terms of strategy with echo, I feel like I've laid out everything I can for you. With this final tip, however, you should be set to play echo a lot better. This tip is camera placement. Now, I talked about this in terms of where to place them for strategy, but I haven't talked about how I find these super hidden spots to put them in the first place. To make a good hidden echo camera, you first want to avoid the ceiling. Now, this may seem counterintuitive because you have to be on the ceiling to stun people, right? But due to the fact that most attackers know this, they're just going to check the ceiling first, and your cameras will get easily spotted and shot. So instead, you want to put your echo cameras lower. We talked about this with the hallway example earlier. If the attackers hear an echo camera, then they're just going to check the roof because of the sound. Now, instead, you want to get creative. Try to put echo cameras in places like, let's say this dresser. If I open it up right here, I totally can. I'm going to make sure to not hit the little drawer doorway though as much as I can. I'll hug the wall, and now I can hide it behind this little doorway, right? So as an attacker, if I'm pushing over here, I hear the echo camera, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing that echo camera at all. I can only see it here because I have a white outline. They're not gonna see that, right? And they're gonna hear it though, so they're gonna assume maybe it's under the dresser, maybe it's on the roof. They're not gonna know. And by the time they try to find it, they'll swing them and it'll be too late. You can easily too just get on the drone as well get off of it, come up, stun, and then you get back on your camera and you hide it somewhere else. You can put it through this drone hole, you can go back into coat, you can go through the double door here, doesn't really matter. But again, easy to put spot, they're not going to know where it is. I have an escape route, and me playing maybe on the bakery door here can swing off of it. All of the 3 key points that we talked about in this video. Now, instead of putting one on the ceiling for the bomb site here, if they come freezer and try to plant or just swing people in general, instead, you can try to put it in the cabinets here by just breaking the glass. There we go. And then I can just maybe drive it in more. Yup, perfect. But see how easy it was for me to just find a camera spot like that? And attackers, guaranteed, are not finding that camera. That's so hidden. Even if they walk in here, they can't even see it because of the light glare, right? And I'm on low settings. The higher settings you're on, the more light glare actually affects shit like that. So I can easily get on that camera too, right? Boom. Hop it out, put it on the roof, stun a person, swing them. Bam. Easy kill, right? That's how you have to be playing Echo. But you get the idea, though. You want to be really creative with where you hide these cameras, just like that. And my rule of thumb is if you can store anything in it, you can store Echo cameras in it too, right? I can store dishes in here. Okay, probably can store an Echo camera in there. They're storing glasses in here. Boom, I can throw an Echo camera in here too, right? Let's see, they're storing things in here. I can throw it in the shelf in there, right? Like, if it can store something, it can store an Echo camera, just like the dresser all the way over there. It's a good rule of thumb. But that's pretty much it for this video. My name's Alka, and check out this video next. Later. Cool.